Hello and welcome back to the Cartoonist studio. Well, what are we doing today, children? I'll tell you, we're doing watercolours, and to prove it, I've got a brush. Now, it's not the same sort of watercolour that I did a few weeks ago. This is going to be a technique that I'm not too sure that I might have invented. If I haven't, let me know in the comments. If I have, I'm a genius. But it's basically using the same colour and building up layers using that. And to do it, I'm going to be doing a stylised caricature of Charlie Chaplin, one of my favourites. And right at the very end of the video, there's going to be a little bit of historical, factual information about the black and white movies and how they got that look. Also, partway through, the sound might disappear slightly. This is me not paying attention to what the hell's going on my drawing board. I was drawing a bit of artwork off, and the brushes were flying everywhere, and that's what got my attention, the brush flying into the great blue beyond. What I didn't notice was that the microphone was going into the great blue beyond, but in the opposite direction. So, and it was in the bin. It was in the bin for most of the video. I think it's okay, but if it does go a bit funny, I'm sorry. That's what happened. My information was coming from the bin, which is a good way of describing the content of this channel, I think. Right, okay. It's a little bit of a longer video than normal, but I hope you think it's worth it, and the picture at the end, I hope you really enjoy. So without further ado, shall we go and paint a black and white Charlie Chaplin? Yes, let's do that. Hello and welcome back to the Cartoonist studio. Now today, we're going to be, as I kind of explained in the introduction, I guess, we're going to be doing try this way around. We're going to be doing a stylized caricature of Charlie Chaplin. And I'm going to be doing a watercolor technique which I devised when I did a poster. Years ago, I did a poster of Charlie Chaplin. And I'm going to do it again one day, but I'm going to probably do it in Photoshop, as it'll be published as a poster and available to buy. Yes, I may even be getting myself a little store on this here YouTube. Right, now, if I remember right, how it went right. So, yeah, everything's stylized, a little bit exaggerated. And I actually took the original picture from a video that I had, Charlie Chaplin, and it was an outtake. Sorry, just get this a little bit right here. It was an outtake of him playing. He was pretending to be a tightrope walker, and he found his little garden rake, and he was practicing on that. And of course, Charlie Chaplin being Charlie Chaplin, the whole thing went horribly wrong. But it was an absolute brilliant. He never used it. He never used it in his actual film. I loved it, and I can't find it anywhere. If I had it, I'd sort of show it to you, because it was just absolutely brilliant. Right, okay, so we start off with just the head. Get that bit right. Probably give another ear. Yeah. Now I'm just doing this in pencil, because the next stage will be to do it in. I'm going to do it in pen. Just put some black outline around it, and there's a reason for that as well, because my technique, or rather the technique I'm showing you, is how to do a watercolor cartoon without using the black outlines that you get a lot of. I'm going to try and avoid that. I mean, sometimes you can't avoid it. Sometimes you just got to do it. Now here, there you go. It's almost like A bowling ball. Imagine a bowling ball like that. It goes out like that, doesn't it? It's almost got that kind of shape. The sort of the trousers that they used to wear were very sort of flary at the sides and baggy. So if we use that line there, doesn't matter how strong or light you do these, because, well, it'll all be made obvious very, very soon. Right, so we'll have his one arm down there, his hand, his other arm like that. Right, so now we're getting a bit of a Charlie Chaplin pose going on here. Just working on shapes at the moment, getting them all right. So how have you been? I've been busy. I haven't actually produced the video for a couple of weeks now. I mean, I know that you've been getting them every week, but I think you would have heard me say that I did a load in one go. And I've been having a fair bit of work to do, so I haven't actually done anything for a couple of weeks. So this is my first one back in. This actually wasn't my idea. This is I was trying to think what to do, and the Kalashnikov kid, she said, "Do the Charlie Chaplin one." And I thought, yeah, okay, why not? Give that a go, and teach them some techniques and all that. So this is what I'm hoping to do. Now, the Charlie Chaplin one, like I said, I did it as a poster. I do it as another one. I did it as a watercolor. Absolutely love doing it, but unfortunately, I can't find a decent enough printer around where I live who could actually produce the picture as a painting. Hence the reason why I'll do it in watercolor, I think, first. Right, so now we've got the basic shape of his Chaplinness. His stick was a lot longer than that, but I've got him at this angle for a reason. So we'll just do his one shoe here. The other ones, very much when I see the old style comedians, the old black and white comedians, I noticed that you can almost see where the great Don Martin got his ideas from. They had these sort of sticky up shoes, didn't they? Right, so just do that, and then there's the stick. Or there's his cane. I know that if you do this, then you can almost do that with it afterwards, because canes are a bit like that. They sort of go in slowly, go in, and come back out again. Okay, so that is the first stage. The next stage is coming up, and here it comes now, because I'm just getting myself a little pen, just need an old marker, doesn't matter what it is, and I'm just going around the lines again. Now, this is not going to be a finished cartoon, not by any stretch of the imagination. This is a finished cartoon, and you're probably thinking, this is going to be a short video. He's just doing the one character. Don't worry, don't panic, there will be more to it. And what else I'm going to do is I'm going to actually talk you through the watercolor as well. I'm not going to speed it up or anything else like that. I'm just going to go through it bit by bit, because I've got some points that I'd like to make about pretentious artists. I'm not one of them. God almighty. Not a chance. Right, so yeah, just literally going around the lines. Now, I'm probably going to speed this bit up, because you've already seen me draw it. You don't really need to see me go through the whole process again. So I'm going to shut the hell up, and I'm going to do these outlines, and I'll speak to you in a minute. Right, there we go. There's your stylized Charlie Chaplin. Remember, this is no major caricature. It's a stylized version. You're meant to look at it and think, oh, Charlie Chaplin. That's all. Right, let's get on to the next stage, shall we? Yes, let's do that. Okay, welcome back. Now, here we have it. There's the Charlie Chaplin picture. It's on the light box. There it is. There's my light box. And so I've got myself a sheet of A4 paper. Could I do it like that? Yeah, I'll probably do it like that actually. Let's put the light on so I can see what I'm doing. And away we go with this. So I just get it where I want it. Find my masking tape. Hold on a second. It's all going all the way wrong here. That's that. And I think it slipped a bit whilst I did that. So he's probably flickering away on the camera there. Can't really help that. That's just stuff beyond my control, which is basically life in general. I don't know whether you can see through that. Can you see that? You might be able to see a little bit there. Right, now the reason why I did it in ink is so as I can see through here. And the reason why I'm lightboxing through is not because I'm cheating, because I have actually drawn it once. So, obviously I know I can do it. But if I was to produce this picture straight on to the watercolour paper, I'd be doing lots of things like, sketching this sort of line here and all that sort of stuff. And you'd have loads and loads of lines, and when you put the watercolour paint over it, you've still got lines underneath. So as if you do it straight on, like so, then you just got the one line, the one true line. And seeing as I'll be going back over it again with pencil, I'll explain more about that later in the video. Oh, it's all happening here, isn't it? Are you excited? Are you excited, children? I'm very excited. And I know what's going on, kind of. Okay, so that's the reason why I'm doing it, or lightboxing it through, should we say. Do I need to keep talking through this? Or shall I speedy this section up a bit more, just so as we can get to the interesting bit? Because I might even have a bit of a rant. I don't do that very often, I know. But they're always worth waiting for when they come along. Histrionics from a cartoonist, they're always worth the wait. Right, I shall speed you this bit up now because I've told you the technical stuff. And yeah, we'll get ready to do the colouring. Okay, I'll speak to you in a few moments. Okay, and there we have it. On to the next stage now. Right, now here's my first bit of a rant. It's not really a rant, but it's about pretentious artists. Now, a lot of watercolour artists will tell you, don't use black. Oh no, don't use black. It's awful. The devil will come out and take everyone from your family, starting with the firstborn onwards. It's ridiculous. What they'll say is use something like Van Dyke brown, which is very, very dark brown, and they'll use, say, Prussian blue or something like that. Two very dark colours, put them together, mix them together, and then make a kind of a black colour. Okay, I'm sure it does, and I'm sure that's very clever, and I'm sure the art classes you go to pat you on the head and say, well done, little chap, you've just created a black type colour. Whereas me, I ain't quite so stupid, I use black. This one here is called ivory black. You can get lamp black, you can get all kinds of blacks. Now, the reason why I'm using just black for this picture is it's a kind of a grayscale. So I want to be able to build up the layers. And to do that with watercolor, you go from light to dark. In oils, you can go from dark to light, and the same thing with acrylic. But in watercolor, you go from light to dark. Now, if you have mixed, this is where the artiste problem falls down flat on its face. If you are using, say, Van Dyke Brown and Prussian Blue, and you create this wonderful black, you're going to have to put a load of water to it to get it light. And then when you do the next shade, which is slightly darker, then you've got to add a bit more Van Dyke and Prussian, and then a bit more to make it darker again. And it just seems ridiculous. When all you're going to do with this is just add more black. That's all you have to do. Because I'll put a bit of black on there, really wash it down, and put on the first layer, and then put a bit more black into it, and it'll be a little less black, and a bit more black, and even less black again, and eventually it'll be more black than grey, and it goes on from there. So don't listen to pretentious artists. They are a bunch of idiots. Okay, so a tube of black paint, whatever black paint you want to use. This one, ivory black. Like I say, there's all sorts. Right, on with the picture. Right, we're back. Rant over. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Did you enjoy it? Yes, I did. Good. I'm glad you did. We're all on the same sheet, the same hymn sheet, as they say. Right, you'll probably notice there's a few things have changed here. One, we've got a little bit of paper here and just use some kitchen roll. That's just so as I can get the right shade. If I'm doing colour, you'll find I'll mix up a colour on the plate and then just put it along here. If it's not right, I can just keep adding to it and keep doing so until I've got it right. So that's what that's for. I'm still going to use this here, but I will use a large area. So every time I strengthen the black, shall we say, I'm putting a little bit more on, and a little bit more on, and so on and so forth. So that's all I'll be doing up there. I've got my plate here, and there's my ivory black, or my black. And I'm just going to show you roughly what I do. So I'll wet the brush. I'm using a number 3 for this particular one. Should be perfect. What I need, so I just grab myself a little bit of black, a bit more water on there, a little bit of black there. See, it's breaking up quite nicely, and put it on the plate here, so I can see what I'm doing. Right, with a fair old bit of black there. If I did that on the piece of paper, that's going to be too dark. I want it to be very, very light, so we'll get a load of water on there. And you see, it's going light already, nice and light. Still a bit too dark for what I want, so more water. So you don't need to put in a huge amount of black on to start with, because when you add the water to it, it's just going to increase. Still want more in there. Right, I think that's going to be about right. Yep, that's fine. So I'll take a load of that, and I'll put it on my sheet of paper here. So I've got that as a reference now. Don't need a huge amount, just a little bit. And now it's time to move on to actually starting the artwork. So we'll do that now. Right, okay, so the board, the colour is out the way, the plate is out the way, and all we do now, this is the beauty of this style, is that you don't have to worry about making sure you don't just come to here, because that will be a different shade, or the next bit will be a different shade. I don't know whether anyone uses this technique. I'm pretty sure they do. I can't think that I could have been the only one to have seen this technique. If I am, then hey, I'm an innovator, or something like that. And tell me, but if you do know of anyone else who does this sort of thing, then just let me know. Otherwise, I'm the inventor of this technique, and I shall sue you all if you dare use it. I have got another painting that I'm going to be doing sometime in the future, which shows this same technique, but with colour. And I quite like it. I don't use it enough, I don't think, but it is nice. It is a good technique. So we're just literally going down the whole painting, and may leave the shirt. Oh, I haven't done top. I could have done with leaving that white, but I'll show you a way of getting around that. I've just painted over it, haven't I? So you're thinking, oh, it's too late. It's never too late. It's never too late. I was going to say something horrible then, but I'm not going to, because this is a family show. It could be children out there thinking, I want to be a cartoonist, and you know, my ideas coming in their innocent little minds. I'm going to have to mix up some more paint because I've not got enough. But it doesn't matter because it's only black. Oh, you can almost hear the purists now spitting venom at me. They are. Then we've got the YouTube videos citing me as a reactionary. Right, so normally you'd wait for that to dry. Each layer has to dry perfectly. This is not a wet in wet technique. So if you want to lift something out, just dip the brush in water, take the excess off, and choose the area that you want to lighten up. And then dry the brush off. I just do it with my fingers. And then start to lift out the area. And you should get more and more light. It should get lighter and lighter. This can take a bit of a while to work on, but it's worth it. Another way of doing it is to put a little bit of bleach on there. You got to make sure you're not going to use anything afterwards. Just put a little bit of bleach, and it will bring it completely white for you. Bleach will do that, unless you wanted to get things white, then it won't. But that's it. Enough. That's enough about my socks. You can see it better on this one, can't you, than say down there. Right, so now you got a nice little contrast there. There you have it. Stage 1. We now wait for that to dry. Okay, we're back again. Nice and dry, like it like that. Now I'm going to do just a slight bit of shadow down here. So I just literally, only marginally darkened this area. Now I'm not going to do all over. I'm not going to do all over the whole picture because I don't need to. Just this little bit here, and then what I'm doing is I'm not putting any more colour on it. I'm just bringing it over here, and it softens the edges ever so slightly. The same here, because a bit of shadow from his hat, because we've decided the sun is coming from this way. There we go. Just a little bit, and then a little bit of water in there on the brush, and just touch the edges over. Dry the brush, like so. Dry the brush, and then do that. What it does is it stops there being a solid line, and it feathers it just slightly. And maybe I'll give it a little bit there as well. And the same could be done for his hands. Same thing there. Sun's coming from this way, so we'll have a bit of shadow over that side. All of there, and maybe a bit down here. And the same thing for the cane. There we go. That's it. Done. That's all I've done. Now, I'll give that a quick dry. Now, we can do various ways of doing it. I use a hairdryer for a quick dry. The only thing I would avoid is make sure that when you do the lines, don't let there be a drip line at the bottom, because when you put the hairdryer on it, it'll shove that drip line all over the place. Right, so whilst that is dry anyway, but a little bit longer to do, and in that time I will now put the next layer of black on. So I'm just mixing that up now, going into my colour palette, and that's it. That's a nice colour. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do his hat. This is where you're not going over the whole picture. You're just building up the next layer. So we'll give the hat a second layer. I'll also go into the headband, because it was quite dark on the old films. So maybe another 2 layers of it. And his eyebrows as well, because that's going to go darker as the picture goes along. That's that, and then onto his coat, avoiding the shirt. You can always pick it out again, but why bother going through that hassle every time? Then just avoid it from now on. Yeah, if you remember the last video, the colouring video that I did, I'm also avoiding the little button here as well. That can stay light. Yeah, if you remember the last colouring video I did, I think it was called Chin Chimney Chin Chin. I did the background in this style, just building up the layers of effectively one colour. But in this case, it's a bit quicker because we're just going through various parts, and every time you do another layer, you're colouring in less of the character until the final bit where you start to put a little bit of shading in there. Not much, just a bit. I'll leave the bottom of his shoe, the sole of his shoe, lighter as well. So what I mean by a drip line, you see it down here. Best way of getting rid of a drip line is dry your brush off and then just run it underneath the drip line slowly. It'll soak up into the brush and keep on doing that until the drip line has gone. Some of it will still come back down. What I did forget was his little tie, because that will eventually be very black, and maybe his braces here. Right, and we'll also do his cane. This will be its second and only coat, because I want that to be fairly light. But don't worry about the drip line, that can just carry on drying of its own accord. Right, give it a quick dry, and we'll be back with the next stage. But I just dried it, the very thing I told you not to do, I did myself. I left a bit of a drip line, and the ink shot out over there, and it's shot out over here. Right, it's still wet, so just roughly dry it off like that. Get yourself some water, and do exactly the same process as before, and you can use your fingers a bit more. It's falling off his paper. You can just use that, and eventually it will all disappear. It doesn't matter so much now because there's something I'm going to put down here afterwards, and it's going to cover that anyway. Look at that, gone. And this can happen when it's bone dry. It doesn't matter. You haven't got to catch it when it's wet. It's easier when you catch it when it's wet. But yeah, you can do it even when it's dried on hard. I could do it to the hat if I wanted to. Right, there you go. So that's now the second or third. I lose track. I pay very little attention to what it is that I'm doing, and I strongly advise you to do the same. And I go a fair bit darker on this one, because we're coming into his hat and his coat now. You want to, although it's okay to build up layers, you don't want to be building up huge amounts of layers. So there we go. Now I may just do that with the hat. Okay, now I'm leaving that band in there. Now I'll leave that at the second level of black. There's a drip line there, so I'll just come through it like that. I know it's going to be grey down there, but that colour will drop down because my drawing board is at an angle. Then comes in with his hair. This is going to need another layer, but that's okay because I wanted the coat to stand out from the trousers. Seems to have a rogue hair on the end of the brush. Don't have to get this exactly right, because as I say, I will come in with quite a substantially bit darker. I might even with the moustache a bit more volume. Oh no, there we go, it's in there. Right, that's that. And I'm going to, yes. Yeah, there's going to be a bit of light and shade on the coat. I'm not going to do it in the same soft way I did the face. I'll get to that in a minute. But now we have this last but one layer for the coat. And we'll get the light and shading quite strong, shall we say. Now don't worry, the picture's not over yet. There's another little bit to come in, and you're going to like this, because this is a bit of inside information that I learned. I love little snippets of information. If you know of any, put some in the comments, because I love that. I bore people to death with quotes about things I've heard. Love it. So yeah, so I shall give you that snippet of information in a minute. But for now, we'll just get on with this. Try, if you do a drip line, try not to leave it too long, because unless you know exactly what you're doing, you'll leave like a line across there, and you can't get rid of it. It's done. It's there. I'll also do his shoes as well. There it is. Technically, I should have come from here, but I'm a professional. Don't attempt this at home, children. Right, and I'll just do, and I said I wouldn't touch it. I'll just give a little bit of shadow in the creases of the cane, and maybe a bit there for some shadow. And that is that. We'll go on to, yes, actually, no, it's not. I'm going to do the shading of the trousers a bit now. So once again, sun's coming from this angle, so be bold. I've done that, right? Water in the brush, damp off the edges, smooth that bit over. For the trousers, I'm going to give it the same effect as I did with the face. So nice bold stroke here, thin to thick, and then just lighten up a little bit. And same in here, and his trousers. Lighten it off by just smoothing this. It's just smoothing the outer edges, that's all. Don't come into that side of it, just smooth the outer edges. And then you've got yourself some shade on there. Okay, that's now done. I might even go over this little bit here and give not all of it, just the top bit of it, a little bit more shadow, particularly around here. And then, oh, I've got this tiny light. That's going to go very dark in the end. Right. Traces. And it's a dry, and go on to the next stage. I've just given that a little bit of a dry, but I have decided that I'd quite like to give the side of the face a bit more shadow, make it more noticeable. So once again, straight down through there. Dry it off, and then soften it. Just soften the edges a little bit. There we have it. And the same there under his hat. Okay. That's almost done. Yes, we are. Nearly done. Nearly there. Now I'm going to get a lot more black on this now, a lot more. Because now we need to get his hair and his coat. Okay, we're now ready to go. Do I do the hat? No, I don't think so. We'll just go. We'll see what the hair looks like to start with. If it's not dark enough, the hair's going to need another shade. So I'm going to give the hat another layer, because I think the hat would be the same shade of colour as the coat, or at least it would have given the impression of being the same shade. And that is a little bit of a hint about the information that I'm about to give you. Oh, yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Eyebrows. Once again, they will go very dark themselves. Because even in real life, we did have very, very black hair. Now here comes the shade. So, hair there, I can't get rid of it. Nice. Line up like so. The light coming from this side again. And then you have to do this in sections. This you can't go over. It's the one where you can't drip line all the way down. So there, and then over here. Think about the folds. and how they would be affected. Right off. I may have to go over it again. I don't know. I'm not sure. If you do, it's no problem because you just literally you'll go back over these lines. And his lapel, start down there, leave the rest of it light, and down here, drag the drip line you had on there into this new one, and then take it down like so. And then do the same over here. Now, his body's going to cover, the light should be coming on there, but because his body's covering most of it, just do the same thing as over here, only give it more light over this side. If you're unsure about what's going on, there'll be a helpline number at the end. But anyone who's had to deal with me, believe you me, it's oversubscribed. Yeah, if you're not too sure what's going on, then just stop the video, go back over it a few times. Say, go to the what the hell is he talking about section. God, I should give it a piece of hair. Now leave a very, very, very thin line on this side of his coat. Getting rid of the drip line and his shoes as well, I think, won't they? Somewhere a bit light. Okay, and very, very thin. Now here, I'm going to have to stop here because the light source will be coming over the top there. So I bring this over and just literally touch the bottom bit there and then go right into the rest of the shoe. There's no light coming through anywhere here, so just a little bit. So you can see there's a slight bit of light there. I may, very, very thin, strengthen some of these lines up. The ones where you think the folds would be the darkest. Like in here as well. I'm just doing it light. It's like, you know, when you put all the brush work on, you've got a little bit left on your brush. It's not strong enough to be the full colour, but it's a bit lighter, so you can then add it to the next shade down. So there you go. Now, I think maybe just a little bit darker, but we'll come to that. I think I'll leave that. Yeah, I'm now going to do his hair. I'll move the black. I'll put a separate bit of black ink. And this is now almost the solid black. You know, the lamp black. Not exactly solid, but not far off it. And that really punches it into life a little bit. I could even do this with a smaller brush if I wanted to. But I don't, so there. I probably should have. Nasty hair there. I am. I'm going to get a smaller brush. As long as it hasn't got horrible hair in it, it will be okay. What's going on here? Come on. Let's get some black on there. Doesn't want to, does it? Doesn't like being changed, that's what it is. Yeah, that's going to need another bit. Not good at all. I'll also do I'm going to have to go back into this with even more. I'm going wet in wet, I didn't want to do that. But like I say, I'm a trained idiot. I know what I'm talking about. And the same here with his tie. And around there. And then that is Charlie Chaplin done. Right? Now, but we're not finished. We are not finished. Because now here comes the bit of insider information, knowledge, if you like. My voice may go out a bit, I'm not so sure. I'm looking for I'm looking for some paint. Actually, I don't need it. I've got some on my. I've got what I want on my plate. Right, here's what happens now. In the olden days, when I was young, when the dinosaurs were around and all that kind of stuff, um, they did these black and white movies. Now, do you and me, they were black and white. They filmed it in black and white, and that was that. But it wasn't always the case. To make the characters look black and white, because of course they were in a colour world. Obviously, the world was still in colour. It was just them that weren't. They had to look black and white. So what they do is they whiten their faces up and blacken their clothes. So as when they filmed it, they looked black and white. But when I did this painting all those years ago, I wanted to imagine what it would be like to for them, what they would look like. And it was when I got this bit of information, that's what decided me on this picture. So I thought, right, I'll do the picture as they would have seen it, as they would have imagined or known it to be. So, and let's just put a bit of grass underneath him, that's all, nothing fancy. And let's start off. I've got some, what have I got? I've got just a normal green, and I've added a bit of yellow, a bit of either lemon yellow or cad yellow, I think probably. And yeah, that's all I've done. I've mixed it up and I'm going to give myself a nice little lemony green background. And I'm drawing the grass in, because there's going to be no black outlines on this. Oh no, we're not going down that road. And once again, finished off with that. Now let's just add some water to it and spread it around a bit. Give it a bit of base, but not too far. So it's now starting to fade into the background, shall we say. All right, we okay with that? And then we have our first shade of green. I think I'm going to go a little stage further. I'm probably going to hate myself for this. Actually, no, first things first, I'm going to dry it, so I'll be back in a second. Right, I'm back. So I'm going to just put a little bit of brown on here. Not much. I'm just using the basic colour, and it's a little of water in it, just to soften it up. And I'm going to give an old style fence. These like broken picket fence things that they seem to have. Once again, this is how Charlie Chaplin or the camera operator or the director would have seen the scene. We would have just seen it in black and white. In fact, I know that they can colorise them and what have you, but it doesn't really show you what it is that they do. Yeah. And also it helps punch out the character a little bit. I won't be doing this in the finished painting. Now, I told you about leaving a drip line. You can see there's a slight line there. It doesn't matter so much here because I'm going to be giving it a second coat anyway, so it's not really the end of the world. I'll probably do them as individual blanks. Right, we'll do it to there, and there, and that will be that as far as it'll go. I won't have it going anywhere else. Are we still having fun? It's going to be a long video, you know. I thought it'd be a short one. It's going to be a long one. But I think it's worth it. I think you'll enjoy it. You'll take something from it. Right. I should just carry on with this whilst I speed it up a little bit now and get this bit done. Okay, I'll just leave this dry and we'll get on to the next stage. And here we go. Next stage is we'll just do the grass and a light background. So I'm just drawing in blades of grass and just around this little section here. Place feet and little grass around there. I'll have to go back over that later because I should have done the fence first. I would say rookie mistake, but I can hardly be called a rookie now, can I? Well, otherwise, what would you be doing watching me? Yeah. It's on there. And once again, a bit of water and just fade it in. Give a splash. That's it. Splash more on there. And then fade it in the background. There we go. That's that. We'll now leave that dry and come back for the next bit. Okay, now to these, and I've added a little bit of Van Dyke Brown to it. So we'll bring it down here and we'll leave a gap. Once again, the light is coming from over here. I'll just do that down there and then leave a gap there. Get over to here. And the same over here, leave a slight gap there as well. And the rest of it is hidden by the grass. And just keep on doing this all the way down through the picket fence, leaving gaps, not just for the light, but also to show that they are picket fences. And I shall once again go quiet whilst I speed this little bit up and complete it. Now the final stages of this cartoon is I've mixed up the perfect shadow colour. And a perfect shadow colour is you get yourself some red and blue. I use cobalt. You put them together and it literally gives you the shadow for any colour. Let me show you. There we go. It's now becoming the dark shade of the grass. Just add a few in here. Underneath him. Remember the sun's coming this way, so the shadow will be more over this side than it will anywhere else. A little bit of darkness, and we've pretty much got that then. Then once again, just to soften those edges off, a bit of water on your brush, tap it off on the tissue or cloth or whatever you use, and there you have some nice shadow. Like I say, that's the shadow there. Let's see what happens on this side. Put the shadow on here. All of a sudden, the shadow becomes brown. Shadow. So clever. I was taught this by watching a YouTuber many years ago, and I thought it was such a good tip. And I've been using it ever since. I never cease to be impressed or amazed by how this works. And just do get the black out again and just do a few nails in the wood. Not everyone, not all the planks, just a few. And as they all say in the other videos, I think we'll call that one done. Hope you enjoyed it. And more importantly, hope you want to keep coming back to see more of what I do. And I'm just putting in a little bit of, I'll just add a little bit of black to the green, just a bit, just give us a little bit of shadow wherever you think it might need it. Yeah, so like and subscribe and all that sort of stuff, and keep coming back for more. Don't know what I'm doing next, but I'm sure it'll be fun. I think actually the next one is I get a lot of questions about where do you get your ideas from. Well, in the next video, I'm going to be taking you through a single panel cartoon right from the going out for a walk, which is how I get most of my ideas, just walking and thinking, coming up with an idea, literally telling you how I got it, and then we'll go back to the studio and I'll draw the cartoon. Hope you're looking forward to that, and I hope you enjoy that. And I really hope that you enjoyed this. And until the next bit of madness, have a great 2 weeks, and I'll see you in a fortnight. Until then, bye bye for now.